Welcome to the American Studies World War II project. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your homepage. Your homepage should have four elements. You should have a picture, the title of your project, the names of your group members, as well as a start or begin button. Let's take a look at what that should look like. You should have your picture, as I mentioned, the name of your project, the names of your group members, and a begin or start button. So let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't done the App Lab tutorial on Mr. Welland's homepage, I would highly suggest that you use that because it can be overwhelming to use App Lab the first time. But just so that we can do a quick overview here, remember there's three tabs in App Lab. You've got your screen for your app, but notice that when I click on the Code tab, the toolbox is over here that looks similar to Scratch, and then there's a workspace, and just like in Scratch, I can drag code over. When I go to my Design tab, notice that my toolbox changes so that there's now design elements that can be dragged over into the screen. I can drag whichever elements over, and each element has a different workspace that shows up. And last but not least, there's a Data tab. And the Data tab you're not going to work with very much until the pie chart itself. So you can just leave this, we can ignore it for now. Since we're beginning on the home page and we're not adding any code in yet, we're going to start with the Design tab. The most important thing that you can do for any screen or any element is to change its ID to something descriptive. We're all going to use the same IDs for this project so that nothing gets lost as we compile them together. So the ID for this screen is going to be called home page. But notice that as I wrote it, I left the H in home lowercase and the P capital with no space in between. That's a naming convention called camel case, and often in programming we'll use camel case to name files or different assets. You always want to start with a lowercase for the first word, and every subsequent word has a uppercase for the first letter with no spaces in between. That's camel case. So that's my ID. I'm going to select a background color, and you can pick whatever background color you want for your page. And now I can add elements to my page. The first element that I want to add is my image. So I'll go ahead and go to the Design toolbox and add this element called an image. I can resize the image to whatever size I want. I haven't added in anything yet. You can think of this as kind of a frame where the image is going to go in. But like I said, the most important thing that we can do is change the ID. The ID for this image is going to be called home page pick 1. And notice the capital P for page and the capital P in pick and then 1. If you wanted to add more images into this home page, just make sure that you add it as home page pick 2, pick 3, and so on. Now is when I'm going to insert my image into this frame. Go ahead and do a search for any image that you like. Two-finger click on it, save image as, and save it to something as something descriptive. And it shouldn't matter whether it's a JPEG or a PNG. I've noticed some issues sometimes with PNG images, but for the most part, if you're using Chrome, it shouldn't make a difference. Go ahead and save that and head back to your app. And then let's choose the image. When you choose the image, you'll notice that it says choose your assets. You can choose from My Files or Icons. There's tons of icons you could choose from, but we want a specific file. So we want to upload the file. And I'm going to go ahead and upload this particular file. When it's ready to go ahead and click Choose. And now my picture is added to this element. One thing that I wanted to show you is that when I hover over different elements, you can see the ID change. So right now, if I'm hovering my cursor over the home page pick, you can see the ID there. But watch, when I hover over the home page, it changes back. If I click on it, notice that the workspace changes, so I could change my background color if I didn't like. But now once I want to go back to editing this picture, I want to make sure that I click on that itself. Okay? If I didn't like my picture, I could go ahead and click delete if I wanted to, or if I wanted to add a second picture, I could duplicate it. Let's go on to the second element of our page, which is the title. I'll go ahead and use label to add titles. And again, look at the workspace. When I drop that, the workspace changes. Most important thing I want to do is change the ID. This is going to be called home page, project title. Home page project title is what I want it to be named. I'm going to change the text, so I have whatever your title is. Okay, that's too small for a title, so I want to change my font to something more appropriate. Could resize it a little bit. Okay, and then if you want to change the text color, you can change the text color to whatever text color you want. If you wanted to add a background color for a text, you could add it here. Like for example, this is what a background color would look like. If you don't like having a background color on your text, then just delete it right here. And now you've got your title. You can change the alignment as well, left, right, center, however you want it to be. You've got your title. Again, if you want to delete it, you can delete it. If you want to duplicate it, you can duplicate it. You can click over these specific elements to edit them. Or notice this, you've got now a drop-down menu where you can access them specifically if you wanted to. Okay. Now let's add the names of your partners. Again, now you want to add another label. Okay, the label ID for this is going to be home page. Notice all of these start with home page, partner names. Okay, and I'll go ahead and add in my partner's names by Mr. Home page partner names. Again, change your font size if you want a larger font size. Change the text color if you want the text color, adjust it to wherever you want it to be, and change the alignment. Last but not least, we are going to include a start button. I'm going to drag over the button element. And with my button element, my ID is going to be called home page begin button. Okay. And now I'll change the text from button to begin or start. If you change it to start, just leave the ID as begin button. And again, you can change the text color if you want. You can change the color of your button to whatever color you want for the button. You can change the text alignment, change the font size of the button. That looks good to me. Again, you can edit any one of these things by just clicking, selecting from here, or hovering over and clicking on them themselves. You can delete them, you can duplicate them. Last but not least, we want to add some code for this button. We are in design mode and we want to be in code mode for this button. Well, AppLab makes that easy. We want to add an event to this button. So we're going to go ahead and click add a click event. When this button is clicked, we want something to happen. So we're going to insert and show code, and notice we suddenly switch to code mode. I can go back to design mode and I'm at my begin button, but I want to go to code mode. The only thing that you need to add here is that here's some code. When this homepage button is clicked, right now it's got some pre-written code, console.log. You can just leave that in. But we want to do is set the image to something else, or set the screen to something else. Drag over a set screen, and we're going to change this to main menu screen. Now, you may not be responsible for the main menu screen, but we want to call it main menu screen. Make sure it's in camel case. And with this, with AppLab, you could show the text and type it directly in text, or you could go back to blocks. With this, you are done with the home page.